Namaste Galactic Family, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Amanda DeMarco and I go by Indigo Angel here on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing, and if you haven't hit that notifications bell, I suggest you do that now so you can continue to receive my messages, and make sure to comment on this video. Also share this video if you've been enjoying the content on my channel so others can find out about my work. And today we are going to dive into the Cassiopeia Star Nation, this star seed origin, this energy signature, this radial encryption. And we are going to talk a little bit about the star system, and then we're going to do a collective reading for this origin if you feel this is your origin. For those of you that feel that you truly did incarnate from this system, the reading will then kind of go in and break down and tie in those galactic aspects into the current human expression of the current energy for this time of the year, essentially. But if you watch this at any time, my readings truly are timeless. I really like to tie them in with a lot of information, a lot of facts, and just a lot of the interdimensional navigation and perspective that I see of how these star encryptions are translating in terms on a level of the grids, of the stargates, from the planetary body's expression all the way into the human's expression, and all of the underlying atomity that plays out within that. And so really defining the cosmology on that collective level is usually what I strive for in all of my readings. So my readings very much are timeless. I believe some of you have told me that before, so thank you very much for that compliment. I really appreciate that. Now, some of the things I've been noticing about Cassiopeia is that it is very dualistic, and it is very much like Orion, but in a feminine form. If you think about the star system of Orion, it was punished for being too boastful, right? Well, it's the same with Cassiopeia. She was punished for being in vain. She's the queen of Ethiopia, and her crime was in vanity. So what does this mean in terms of the collective reality on Earth? And what it upholds here. So I want to kind of dive into that. I want to go into a little bit of the history here with Cassiopeia, since this is the first time I'm ever really doing a reading for this star system. I've never put anything about Cassiopeia out in the past before, so I kind of like to hit all my bases here. But essentially, Cassiopeia, she was the wife of King Cepheus. She was the mother of Princess Andromeda. Cepheus and Cassiopeia were placed next to each other amongst the stars, along with Andromeda. She was placed in the sky as a punishment after enraging Poseidon with the boast that her daughter Andromeda was more beautiful than the Nereids, and alternatively that she herself was more beautiful than the sea nymphs. Okay, so Miss Cassiopeia was in a state of excessive pride, like I said, similar to Orion, but in the feminine form. She was in a state of constant admiration of her own appearance and of her own achievements. And because of this, she was forced to wheel around the North Celestial Pole in her throne, spending half of her time clinging to it so that she doesn't fall off. And Poseidon decreed that Andromeda should also be bound to a rock as prey for the monster Cetus. So Andromeda was then rescued by Perseus, whom she did later marry. A little bit else about Cassiopeia. In the Celtic world, she was Anu, and she was the mother goddess of all the other mother gods, and she was considered the Tuatha De Danann. And so she's referenced here as the Mother Earth goddess, the goddess of fertility. She's also been referenced to as Mary Magdalene. Some people have connected Mary Magdalene to Cassiopeia before as well. I personally feel I have not been connecting these particular beings to Cassiopeia, but I will go ahead and tell you who I have been connecting more to these systems. So I have noticed an interdimensional gateway or portal between Cassiopeia and Hydra, because they both are representing more of this demonization of the feminine, okay? More of this deep wounds of the feminine, loss of nature consciousness, abandonment of the feminine, even hate for the feminine. And it's really, a lot of this is only now just re-emerging in the human psyche. Those who hold the level of depth and the level of awakening to really be able to identify this intense unconscious collective transforming that has really been taking place through specific star systems that represent the darker sides of the feminine. And I'm not saying that Cassiopeia is all dark feminine, because there are, just like every star system, there's a dualism to it. So there's also benevolent forms to this system. Most of the Cassiopeians on this more benevolent aspect of things, they are considered the Eeivias. Okay, they are, extremely kind, extremely nurturing. They watch over their planet with curiosity, and other benevolent races who are here to support the earth during these challenging times. Their empire is immense, with interdimensional ties to the mother crystal host of earth that is working through a lot of these things, okay? And so this host is hosting all of the duality as well when it's connected to the mother crystal host of the earth, okay? This means that Cassiopeia is transmitting to all of the mother art gates, okay? There's 12 of them on the earth, that her encryption is carried amongst these signatures. And so the positive aspects is they're connected to other races, particularly the Andromedans, the Pegnusians, and they do effortlessly transport themselves amongst all of these neighboring environments and star systems. They fight for peace and harmony, okay? And just because there is darkness in a system doesn't mean that they're not fighting for peace and harmony. It means that this star system is deep, and it's bringing up a lot of things to be exposed, for people to be able to identify, for people to be able to work through this in terms of a collective level, because it takes collective recognition for things to really ultimately shift. This star system does have kind of like an Queen of Swords aspect to it. She has this mother and this crone-like advice that she will give out and dish out to lesser mature systems, particularly the Pleiadians, also assisting with the Andromedans as well. And Cassiopeians, they do adore being in service to one another. So they do exude kindness and compassion and understanding. And they're also very telepathic. They also have very high angelic crystal tones in their voice. But Cassiopeians have a very penetrating eye, because Cassiopeians do consider themselves to be of royalty. So there's a very penetrating royal look in their eye, a very refined look in their eye. There is a swiftness to the delivery of their advice, or just the way that they communicate in general. They just swiftly, there's not a lot of there's no insecurity. It's they know what they are, and they represent what they are, and they hold that in their energy. Presence, a lot of self-confidence, okay? Like you said, bordering that vanity. So that's going into some of the dark templates there that we'll get into here in a minute. And also perseverance as well. They don't really give up. They keep working towards what they know to be true to their heart, and they push through. They have a lot of ability to push through the hard times. Okay, so just like many other alien races, they have specific groups who have come here and incarnated on the earth plane. Some of them are holding a full spectrum of all of the things that I just mentioned. Some are more on the benevolent side, and they consider themselves to be the Eeivias. And then there's others who could be perceived to be more malevolent, because they are bringing forth more of the dark mother transmissions. All of that's really coming through this Cassiopeian energy, okay? So some of the things that have created some of this darker energy within this Cassiopeian template is they have been dealing with black hole entities and invasions, okay? And here is where these crimes and vanity come in, because of coping mechanisms that are formed that start to kind of bring forth more of this narcissistic viewpoint of the character, okay? And this doesn't mean that everybody sees this reflection this way as well. Some people can see right into this, to the depth of this wholeheartedly, and they can understand where the being is coming from. But to those that have the inability to see, it could be perceived as harsh, right? When I was remote viewing into this system, I seen an entity over the entire Stargate. It was like a black octopus. It had tentacles, okay? And the tentacles seemed to be moving, and they were digging into all of these different specific categories of this darkness, okay? And what I was seeing, that it was trying to gain access to the first dimension. It was trying to gain access to the alchemical mixing chamber of this. More of that Dark Mother template is being exposed here in this nation. The Dark Mother template ultimately coming from the fragmented, dormant portions of Tiamat, when it had its collision way back when. And portions of its consciousness have been fragmented in the unconscious collective. And this is what's coming up. This is what's being unthawed. This is what's being acknowledged and worked through collectively. This is a part of the intense transforming that we are going through on this earth here. And this has been coming up ever since the fall of Atlantis. This has been a part of the disconnect that has been the ancestral fragmentation for over 2,000 years, is that the divinity of Tiamat, it's so deep. It feels like it's been taken and removed. So it's fighting again for this consciousness, okay? It's fighting to what once may seem have been dark is now trying to come to the light. And this represents the mother matter, okay? This is the mother matter. This is the gateway to the mother matter, essentially. Is these radial encryptions that bring this information forth. So the Dark Mother template is also coming from portions of Hydra's cosmology collectively, the demonized feminine. It's also coming from the demonized aspects of lunar consciousness, right? Because I talked about this on my channel the other day, how lunar consciousness is being demonized at this time. And I do feel that us light workers and way showers, those of us who honor the moon, those of us who, you know, work with the Mayan calendar, those of us who are Lemurian starseeds, those of us who carry Pleiadian in us, that we have to stand up for lunar consciousness at this time, that it's being pitted as demonic or negative, and that the polarization truly resides within the lunar consciousness itself. So that's all coming up through these dark transmissions. This is what's being expressed on the planet right now. This is what's coming through the underlying radial atomity of the cosmology on Earth, that's creating manifest destiny, reality, probabilities for humanity to grow into. Okay, these seed packages that are being delivered are coming from the mother matter at this time. Okay, and so I was seeing these dark mother energy transmissions. And so this vanity punishment wound that the collective of the Cassiopeians carry may be feeding more of this planetary miasm that feeds upon this, okay? And the reflective distortions of the dark goddess archetypes. These are the wounds of Inanna entering the underworld in scorned pain from the loss of her love. Okay, a lot of people talk about Inanna being the goddess of the heavens and the goddess, the queen of the heavens. And I'm not taking that away from goddess Inanna, but when you really dive into the story of Inanna, she was in a lot of dark places on her journey, and she found herself going into the underworld, and she died in the underworld. She died in the underworld, and she was hung, her soul was hung on a hook in the underworld, okay? She was resurrected just like Christ just like Christ was, okay? A lot of people feel too that the story of Christ actually came from Inanna, that Inanna was the original story of Christ, that she died in the underworld and she was resurrected after 3 days. Okay, so that's all coming up with this stuff here, okay, is the truth. What is the truth here? Also, this outrage and this abandonment of the Lilith from the Garden of Eden, and then turns into later accusations of Lilith killing babies. They used to actually give little amulets. The mothers would put amulets of Lilith's name on their babies so that Lilith wouldn't come and kill their babies. Okay, all of this shit is coming up through these darker goddess constellations that are holding the remnants of the dormant portions of the wounds of these things, okay? Why is the feminine in vain in the first place? Okay, so we have to break down the psychology somewhat of being in vain to really understand this. Because as soon as the striving for recognition for the upper hand, okay, when this invokes in one's life, this is causing a greater tension in the psychic life. Okay, as consequence, the goal of power and superiority becomes increasingly obvious to the individual who pursues it with movements of great intensity and violence. Okay, so why are our feminines pursuing the upper hand? And you can really see this when you start to look into the culture. Okay, look into the culture right now. Who do we have really guiding our youth at this time? Okay, I have 3 young daughters, and you know who their role models are? They are all of these young female rappers. And what do all these young female rappers talk about? They talk about screwing men over for money. They talk about not giving a crap about what the masculine can do for them. They are installing this really vain-like mentality into the feminine of our youth. Okay, so why is this happening? So there is this vanity that's underlying the feminine collective at this time, this disregard for the masculine as well, that the masculine, that there's been such a great disappointment in the masculine. They don't feel the masculine can keep up with them in terms of their ascension, that they are out-evolved the masculine, that there's no longer now a need for the masculine. Okay, there are collectives of females that exist in these platforms right now, okay? And a lot of this is pushing through those dark mother transmissions. A lot of this is coming through Cassiopeia. Exaggerated beyond a degree, vanity becomes exceedingly dangerous, okay? Quite besides the fact that vanity leads an individual to all kinds of useless work and effort, which is more concerned with the semblance of things than with their actual essence, okay? And besides the fact it causes them to think constantly of themselves, and mostly of the opinion of other people, okay? And this is a dangerous place to be because it leads people sooner or later to really lose contact with reality and also lose contact with their spirituality. And this can happen within spirituality. When people talk about spiritual superiority, okay, you may have once been a very spiritual person, but what are you transforming into? If all you care about is, the acceleration of those likes, or only about the financial aspect of it, okay? Because there is an imbalance that starts to play out here within this as well. One loses their understanding for human connections. Their relationship to life becomes warped. They forget about obligations of living. They lose sight especially of the contributions which nature demands of every man. Okay, so that just tells you that this is not just in the feminine, because where are we at? We're at a pivotal point where people have lost such a connection with what nature is at this point, okay? We are being inundated with demon seeds of anti-humanism and artificial intelligence and transhumanism agendas that people have lost their connection to this. So no other vice is so well designed to stunt the free development of a human being as that personal vanity, which forces an individual to approach every event, every fellow with the query of, what do I get out of this? Okay, people don't want to do anything if they don't get anything out of it. Okay, so it's really taking us, allowing us to take a deeper look into this, I feel. And like I said, this is coming through black hole entities that essentially really come through a red wave spectrum of pulsing to ride. Okay, and this really comes through also the prioritization of money as well. Money being that root of a lot of this evil. And I've seen this black octopus and these tentacles are trying to gain access to this core, okay, to feed upon this. And I do feel that the Cassiopeian radial encryption, in terms of a cosmological collective integration, is trying to clear out the distortions here within these fragmented portions of the earth, within the first dimension, within the base of the universal tree of life. Remember, guys, I told you in that update, all of this is attacking the spheres of the universal tree of life. This is happening inside the earth, okay? But on that note, there are a lot of positive aspects to the Cassiopeians. There are, I mean, they're beautiful. Cassiopeians, if you're a Cassiopeian, you are beautiful, okay? They love to offer beauty. So you love to have beautiful things. You love to have a beautiful environment. You love to enjoy the finer things. You love to, you enjoy architecture. You enjoy interior designing. You enjoy gourmet foods, artistic expression. You enjoy other beautiful people, okay? It's all about keeping your self-confidence in balance. For you is one of the main character constant state of self-awareness is balancing your character in terms of your self-confidence to not slip into a place of being vain. And a healthy Cassiopeian will do this with elegance. A healthy Cassiopeian will really enjoy dance and movement and performance and arts and refinement of these things. They're very loving and compassionate. They're very nurturing. They are the queen. They literally would go the extra mile to help someone in low times. They will lift them up with compassion, great royal empathy. Okay. They're also very charitable. They're very selfless. They are humanitarians. And a lot of times their physical appearance can be tall and thin. So usually males and females between like 5'8" and 6 foot are typically more of a Cassiopeian build, and very thin, soft, delicate features. And like I said, both sexes can carry these physical features. And now when we get into talking about, well, this is the feminine adversary of the punishment of being boastful, being in vain, similarly to Orion, it doesn't mean that a masculine wouldn't take these feminine, dark transmissions of this energy as well in the masculine form, because at the base or the root of it all, we are truly androgynous beings, and it's really whichever aspect of yourself that you feed, that waters, that grows, that nurtures. So if you nurture your feminine side, if you nurture more of the estrogen, you're going to be more of a feminine masculine. If you're a masculine and you nurture more of the testosterone, you're going to be more of a masculine male. But essentially, you carry both qualities. Okay, guys, so we're going to go ahead and dive into the Cassiopeia Starseed origin reading. Okay, Cassiopeians, so we have the Queen of Wands, and you know, it's coming forth with that queen energy, right? That powerful, feminine, queen of the thrones, queen of the flame, you know, a lot of water and fire, right? A lot of passion and spirit, a lot of adaptability, a lot of instant vigor, calm authoritativeness. Okay, like I said, that real stare in the eye, that real penetrating eye that the queen gives. Okay, also a great attractiveness, right? being really self-confident with your physical appearance, but also being careful of crossing over those invisible self boundaries of becoming narcissistic or becoming in vain. But there's definitely an allure about you, and it does attract and bring forth a lot of abundance, new relationships. Okay, but this can also be a trigger point for you somewhat, that you do feel that a lot of times you have to read through people's intentions. Like, are they doing this for me because they genuinely want to be my friend? Or is it because they're just smitten by my beauty? Are they genuinely coming forward because they care about my being and they would like to assist me with my soul growth, my spiritual growth? Or are they trying to covertly or manipulatively take advantage of me in some way? So you're always having to kind of really protect your energy in that way. You're really sensitive about people coming at you in a cross way, or people trying to essentially just not be forthcoming about their intentions, even though you can read their intentions and you can tell them repeatedly what you think, what you feel, what you know, and they will block it out because of your beauty. So this in turn can also feed your vanity and can also propagate and accelerate more of the coping mechanisms that you have survived on, that propagate more of maybe those narcissistic qualities. So a lot of self-checking, a lot of keeping yourself in check, but also trying to continuously hold your heart open. This is Kether here. So Kether is the crown. So this is seeing all wisdom. This is coming from a place of I am presence, but it's also about really balancing, okay? Really being diplomatic, being polished, and still holding your qualities of love and beauty, and being artistic, and caring about peace, and caring about harmony. Okay, so you have a lot of consciousness activated here. You're going through a lot of awareness at this time. You're having a lot of higher mind realizations at this time. You're having a lot of major downloads, a lot of major upgrades. You've been integrating the higher humanity codes. This has taken you deep down into the first, second, and third dimensions for you to work through the realization of some of these dark mother templates. Collectively, how they're playing out. You're seeing internally how this is expressing itself collectively, and you are looking to transcend these limitations. You're looking to integrate these as self, so that way you can be a clear mirror for others, a clear reflection to others, and also provide substance to mankind. You feel like you're the queen of light, the queen of repentance. You have a lot of gifts of patience, and you carry a lot of discernment as well. Okay, so a lot of people will come to you for advice on things because you do give good advice. You have the Knight of Chalices. So you have been integrating more of your galactic self. You do feel that you've upgraded skillfully and more artistically in your character. And you are succeeding in both good and evil. Okay, you're succeeding in both leaning towards evil having an apparent force as an ally or wisdom. And so you're really starting to see the necessity of your shadow work. You're starting to see the necessity of integrating these parts of yourself, parts of the collective, and really working through the darkness to bring things to light. You have the Ten of Swords. You really see that on a collective level that there is going to be an end to suffering. You've been experiencing total vision of yourself in the galactic realms, in the spiritual realms, in the human realms, in the inner earth realms. You're having total vision here, total evolution. You feel that you are dedicated towards clearing cruelty. You feel the need to recover and surrender And you also feel that change is needed on every level. And you're really, and this is in all ways, in the government and in the social networks and the technological advancements, you really feel change is needed. You seek to deliver this peace and to end the suffering. So you're really attuning yourself more to the Aquarian age, and you're feeling the need to start traveling and start liberating yourself from painful situations in the past. And you're working on starting to take off. You have a sense of personal empowerment. You're becoming aware of your place in the world, and you are striving towards improvement. And you are just also wanting to work well with others. You feel that you need to serve the people that you love, so you feel comfortable with giving right now. You feel comfortable with gifting things right now, and you're willing to be in service at this time. You also have the Temperance. You've been feeling called to be more philosophical. You feel that you're developing your own unique philosophy of life, one that is your own unique path. And you've been working with the centaurs. So I'm seeing a strong connection to Alpha Centauri, that you have been working deeply with them, that you have spirit guides that come in through Alpha Centauri that are wise. They're kind-hearted centaurs. You've been feeling called to Sagittarius as well. Here on the card here, Sagittarius, that you're being kind of pushed in terms of your life purpose and your life mission. Again, coming through the Sephiras of Beauty, coming through Yesod, which is the foundation. So things are shifting because you're rebuilding your foundation at this time. You're rebuilding things from the core of who you really are. And this is aligning to your life on a level of finances, foundation, spirituality, emotions, your mental state. It's all coming into alignment. And you're feeling this arrow here. You're really aligned to the direction of your soul mission, your soul path at this time. So whether you need to travel, all of these feelings of ending of suffering, and just carrying this wisdom with you in this direction, because everything you're doing at this time is really aligned to your soul mission. You feel that there is a combination of forces that are working in the trajectory of where you need to go. You're getting an acceleration, you're getting a push, you're feeling the implementation of this, and you're seeing the actions play out in the material sphere. Okay, so this means that the material world, the physical world, you're starting to see the responses to all of this aligning for you. You have the Two of Pentacles. Okay, you're also needing to find some balance and some moderation. It's not all work and no play all the time. So take a break. Sometimes let yourself have a day off. You have been working so hard, but you're just driven by this innate knowing. It's almost like a natural law that's just like, you're ready. You have blinders on right now, and you're wanting to work really, really hard. It's almost an obsession to the dedication of your goals at this time, to the point of ruthlessness on some levels. So again, here's where maybe some of that vanity creeps back up again, where to be careful again of your energy, so that way it's not destructive to those empaths in your life who are understanding of your being. Okay, it's one thing if you kind of push off these vain qualities, or really super self-confident qualities on those who maybe don't fully appreciate what it is you're doing, or they just are not like immediately a part of your reality. So it's okay to be super confident in what you're doing and show that, but be careful to not treat those that are in your inner circle that are highly sensitive to you Be careful not to carry over those behavioral patterns from the place where you feel super confident over into those interpersonal relationships. You're breaking through a lot of illusions at this time. A lot's starting to be revealed to you. And then you also have the Fool. Again, crown chakra awakening. You're also in a high space of wisdom. So there is a lot of higher knowing that's coming through for you at this time. This is really for you. I'm sensing that this is about communication. We have the air quality. So, you know, you're really needing to watch your play on words. In relationships, you're needing to right now you're distinguishing where you're at by being curious but not wanting to fully engage or commit or fully go in. There's a lack of seriousness in you right now, and that's okay because it's serving the greater purpose right now in terms of evolving into that soul mission and that higher life path that's being integrated into your foundation and your mental and your physical and your spiritual, that you don't want to be too serious with people. Again, people try to bring you in because of the beauty and because of the lore of who and what you are, that you do have to kind of fight that sometimes, making other people maybe not feel that you're reliable, or you're prone to mind wandering, but it's really just you're not ready to be super serious or committed in terms of relationships at this time. You kind of enjoy where you're at, but there does need to be more communication, more thought, and to not be maybe foolish with other people's hearts. So you do have to be careful how much you do let those people in at this time. And yeah, there's a lot of transmissions I'm seeing to Sirius, the Sirius star system. Also Hydra, communicating heavily with Hydra. It seems that there is a collective force coming through Sirius and Hydra, and even some Pegasi and Andromeda and the Cassiopeians that seem to be working together to clear a lot of these dark mother transmissions. Like I said, really getting to the core of this and bringing a lot of this to light, being committed to the cause, and you're pretty much prepared to do anything for it because you're ready for healing on this planet. You're ready for suffering to end. And yeah, that's kind of where the Cassiopeian collective is, the Cassiopeian Starseed. Thank you all for listening today. If you would like a Starseed origin reading, you can find me at indigoangel222.com. Feel free to join me on patreon.com/indigoangel for visualizations and meditations. And thank you so much, guys. I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful everything.